All right, it's June 2023, and this is an update to my 32-gallon Biocube, my nano reef tank. Everything's doing great. Made a couple of changes recently. I'll go over those here in a minute, but you can see the growth. Everything's doing well. My zoanthids are going crazy. Specifically, my purple monsters, man, they're just taking over that entire rock, drowning out my other other zoas. My clementines are also going crazy. My blue hornets, rainbow hornets, they're encroaching on all those colonies and may take them over. It's going to kind of suck if they do. Maybe I'll break off some of the rainbow and the reds and the clementines and try to put them somewhere else. But I don't have any room in this tank, man. So that's an unfortunate problem I'm having. Sand beds being taken up and rock space is going. So I guess it's an excuse for me to upgrade. But everything else is doing great, man. Growing. Stuff that I was having problems with, I've talked about it in my previous videos, like my Jason Fox silver bullet money there. You can see where it receded, but it's growing back stronger than ever, which it does. But now it's been more consistent. But yeah, it's one of those things to where I didn't change anything other than did steps and measures to help with my pH, and I'll go over that here in a minute. But I'm just going to go over the tank and the livestock real quick. Jason Fox Beach Bum Money. It's hard to get the coral colors on it, but it's one of my favorite Monis right there. The Darth Maul chalice. That is a Easter egg chalice, which is purple with yellow eyes, and of course doesn't look that way without a filter, but I'll put that on in a second. Some new zoas I got. Pallies. I don't know what those two are. The green with the orange mouth. And then that's like a Hawaiian something by itself, and that one's gorgeous too. And yeah, and I don't know where I'm going to put them. Probably have to put another rock in there or something. Figure that out. My SPS are doing good. They got a little angry for a little bit too with, I think it was the pH issue that I'll go over. And I have since believe I fixed it. My levels are alkalinity is 8, calcium is 425. My magnesium is about 1250, I think, 1275 last I checked. Nitrates are about 5 to 10 parts per million. And my phosphate 0.03, I believe. So all good levels that I'm good with. But yeah, everything's growing super well. Stuff has its ups and downs. Like that Monty had necrosed a little bit, or receded. It's coming back again, and I've had issues with that one before, but that's how it goes, man. I just don't do knee-jerk reactions and start changing everything. That Raj or Rampage chalice, that thing is sick, man. I don't know if the colors are going to be picked up on this video, but I've always saw that coral online and different people had it in their tanks, and I'm like, man, that thing looks neat with the yellowish eyes, green, and the black rim around the eye. But in person, that yellow in the eyes and that green is like fluorescent. Like, man, it pops like a neon fluorescence, and it's tough to capture it on this camera. But it's a jawbreaker mushroom that I got recently. Mystique Cephastria, Alien Poxophastria, my clowns, my other stuff, my SPS up there up top, my Cookie Monster SPS. That thing is sick. That's doing well. And you can see certain things. You can see my number one problem in this tank still, which I battled before, and it comes and goes, is Bryopsis. And that stringy, crappy looking algae, you can see it in my rostas there. I pull it out and get rid of it, cut when I can. It goes away, comes back sometimes. I know it really likes low levels when it starts popping up again. I could black out my tank for a few days, and that'll kill it off, but I think it'll eventually kind of creep its way back. I'm all right with it. I want my levels to be where they're at. I like my phosphate nitrates where they're at and everything, so I don't want to try to change it and try to do algae control, because my corals and everything's happy. If it gets to the point where there's so much Bryopsis or algae where it's drowning out and affecting my corals, then I'll make a change. But for now, I'm not messing with it. Everything in here is doing good. So I'm happy, tank's happy. I did put a diffuser on my Radion XR 15 Gen 6. I was going back and forth whether I want to do that or not, just because the light spread is very good with the factory fixture. Obviously nothing changed. Nothing changing it, I mean. But from all my research and did it online, especially for like a smaller tank like this and the mixture of corals that don't like super bright light, it disperses the light, gives it a softer look, and definitely has a more even look with color distribution of, especially like when the red's on the white and the blues mixed. It definitely looks better, I think. And it didn't reduce my intensity too much. I just upped my intensity by, I think, like 10. It was 50 and I put it to 60 because they say it reduces your light intensity by roughly 20% by putting that on, because it's shooting light back up now instead of down. But nothing got affected. My corals aren't pissed, and they're not having a negative reaction to it. So yeah, it's good. So now I'll talk about what I changed. So my light strip fell down back there. I got to reattach that back. The Velcro did not work. But so I got rid of the Reef Pro A and B. And went with Kalkwasser. Now I'm very happy with the Reef Pro A and B. Nothing bad to say about those two supplements. They did a great job maintaining my levels, and they dose trace. The problem I'm having, or had having, was my pH was dipping so low at nighttime. I'd wake up the next morning and it would show like 7.4, 7.5, and that's not good. Especially for some more sensitive corals in the tank, SPS, Monopora. So I think that was an issue with my Monis, and I think that was an issue with my SPS not growing as much as they should. Higher pH always gets better growth. I know that because it's just how it goes. It takes more alkalinity and calcium. Corals are happier, but dipping that low was an issue. So my solution was to go back to Kalkwassers, which I'm very familiar with. I've used it in the past. And I have it on a doser. And I'm dosing 20 milliliters of Kalkwasser every hour on the hour from midnight to about 7 in the morning. And that has been able to maintain my levels, at least keeping them around 7.6, 7.7 before the lights come on. And it's not dosing so much. It's not as potent as the Reef Pro A and B, so you can dose that much, and it's not going to give a huge spike in alkalinity. Now, obviously, when you change any supplements or do anything like that, you want to go slow and test. Slow and test. Every day or 2 days, test your levels, because just because one supplement was being dosed and you were dosing it a specific amount for your tank and you were getting success, if you do switch or you try something else, that does not mean the same amount is going to produce the same results. So you got to be careful. But my levels are rock solid because I maintained it. I knew how much I get away with. I could probably even dose more at night, which I'm probably going to end up doing because it is not having a drastic effect on my alkalinity being dipped in my calcium. This small bottle here is all for Reef. And god dang, what's the name of the company? Jeez, it's gonna drive me nuts. Anyways, all for Reef basically dose alkalinity, calcium, magnesium, plus trace elements. And I'm dosing about 2-3 milliliters of that a day in the middle of the day. That is helping keep my levels where they're at. Plus, it's dosing the trace that I really liked from the Reef Pro A and B. So I'm very happy with that as well. So I got two different things dosing, but they're dosing at completely different times a day. So, and my tank seems to be enjoying it. Everything else is the same. Like right now, my lights came on not too long ago, and my pH is at 7.77, whereas before when the lights kicked on, the pH would be 7.4, 7.5. So I'm probably gonna still up it and see if I can get it closer to 8. I don't have a protein skimmer on here. The biggest thing that I would say would help me with my pH would be putting a protein skimmer on and putting a recirculating CO2 scrubber on, which I really want to do, but it's not necessary. It would probably blow up my tank with growth, especially with the SPS from everything I've researched online. But I'm okay with stuff growing and being happy slowly, because this tank is not very big. As you can see, real estate is completely gone. I'm putting stuff in the sand in my rocks, so excuse for me to probably get a bigger tank, because I've had bigger tanks in the past, and yeah, I just enjoy it too much, and I love corals, and I'm running out of space. Everything's growing. But that's my update. Appreciate it. I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. See you.